How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Weeb Seen It Podcast. This is episode 5 / special episode. My name's Cam.
I'm Jimmy.
And let's just get to it. And welcome back, guys. How's it going? How's it going, Jimmy?
Oh, same as usual. How about you?
I'm alive. A little stomach sick. Probably had some bad food. But we're here. We kind of have to do this episode now. So
Yeah, we don't have a very big window for this, do we?
no, okay. Before we get started, I'm really thirsty. So I'll give you a little cheers.
Cheers.
Crack them open. There we go. Okay, perfect. This is what gives me the ability to talk fast when it's going. So yeah, if you've seen our last episode, which was episode 4, we did the first episode discussions for all of the new fall anime. And by doing that, it kind of left out all of the finales of the summer anime.
Yeah, we didn't want to run a 3-hour episode, so we decided to split it
Mixed
up.
with the fact that I had a lot going on like that in that 1 week period, we had about 7 shows that we watch end, and then about like 12 or more shows start. So it would have been like a 4-hour episode if we decided to do it all. So we just released that episode with all the first episodes. And then this episode is just going to cover all the finales of the summer anime.
Yes.
And then we'll be back on Monday with it'll be the episode 2 is for basically every single new show.
Correct.
Except for Noblesse, which is actually episode 1.
Yeah, our timetable didn't really work for that one. But
yeah, we're still figuring out. I said it in the last video. I'll say it again here. If you're watching the fall anime, just write a comment down below and say which fall anime you're excited for, which ones you're most hyped about. If it's based off your knowledge of the manga or just like a gut feeling, let us know because there's so much for us to cover, and it's going to be really hard to make like a solid list without leaving someone's favorite anime out.
yeah, and the thing is, just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean we're not watching it. It just means we either don't have anything to talk about it that week, or we just don't have time.
Yeah,
So,
I can definitely say, especially because of the podcast, this is the season where I'm probably watching the most of just everything.
Yeah.
Even shit I didn't think I'd be into. I'm just like, oh, I'll watch it in case we want to talk about it. So I've pretty much seen everything. I think the only thing I'm not completely caught up on is the parrot one. And there might have been one other. What was the other one that came at the same day as the parrot?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, and I can't remember what it's called because I can't remember what day everything came out on.
Yeah, it's confusing. But yeah, we'll get into all those, all the new episodes, all the episode 2s mixed with the stuff like Noblesse and what was the other isekai?
There was By God's Grace, which is the slime one.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Yes, so different shows that did have an episode 1 air between our last podcast and now. We might discuss them on the next week as well, along with some of the second episodes of whatever shows we pick. But yeah, other than that, we'll just get right into it.
Yeah.
Right before we get to the first episode, I want to ask again just to drop a like and a subscribe.
Always
helps
appreciate
us out. Lets us know how many people are watching. The comments are best part. We still get comments from a few dedicated people.
Yeah.
I also like to post on Reddit a lot. I either post just the episodes or I post things like asking opinions on what anime people are excited for, just so we have more information, so we can make a video tailored to more people. Other than that, we're just going to get right in. So the very first anime on our list was the season finale of Rent-a-Girlfriend. This was a while ago now, if you think about it, because today is a Friday. It wasn't last Friday. It was the one before.
Yeah,
so
it's
two
2
weeks.
weeks. We've watched how many episodes of anime since then? So
Too many.
pardon us if everything's not exactly fresh in our minds, but it is going to give us a more pure, like what actually stuck with us.
Yeah, it's also Rent-a-Girlfriend, so it's not like there was some deep plot that happened.
Yeah.
Maybe it was deep for Rent-a-Girlfriend, but
It's not saying a whole lot, but
yeah. So what I remember, and this is the thing that kind of upset me, just about the season later in general, is that they just introduced the new girl, right? The 4th girl.
yeah, they just dropped Sumi, and then
The
show.
next episode it's over, and she didn't even get like a second thing. It was just like she was in that one episode, and then they just end the show the next one. I was like, she only got one episode.
Yeah, which I think that's them sticking very close to the manga. It's
Yeah.
not them deciding we're going to cut her out. It's just that's how many episodes they had.
Yeah. Plus, I guess maybe you can look at it like a season 2 thing. She's gonna get more time in season 2. They're just trying to show her off, but it just seemed like very weird timing. But that's because it was a.
I mean, especially when you consider how prevalent she was in the opening and the ending, it was very like almost baity.
Yeah. If anything, I just thought they would have like only introduced like 2 girlfriends now. Wait till the next season, introduce other 2.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they could have made it work because those 2 girlfriends would have probably worn on you by the end. But
it's true. I wish that some shows would do more of like the 25 episode formats. Like we're getting a lot more these days of like the 13, the 12, that kind of stuff, like the short ones compared to like 10 years ago when anime came out, everything was like 25 at least.
yeah, a 12 or 13 episode run was considered a half season back then.
Yeah, exactly. So like everything, like
So-
when you got shit like Fullmetal Alchemist was coming out, they had like, well, obviously shit, all the shonens basically were just like never ending.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them didn't even kind of conform to like series like or season.
Yeah, they were constantly airing because they were scared people would forget them.
Yeah, which is probably fair. A lot of people might. But like, it's just I wish if this would have been 25 episodes, this whole timing with Sumi would have been a lot less weird, and they probably could have got. But I guess you want to spread it out.
Yeah, definitely. But I do think banking on a second season's a little arrogant nowadays.
Anime does it all the time too, and it's not like a Western TV shows where you'll get like a notice when it's canceled. You just won't ever hear anything again, which is worse.
Because they're renewed on a seasonal basis, so it could be like 4 years later, and then suddenly you hear it's like, "Hey, we got a season 2." It's like,
but
I don't
with
care
like
anymore.
Western TV, at least you'll see like ads and stuff like that, or like you'll see like articles being like, "Hey, this got renewed or this got canceled."
Yeah,
you can literally go to a list online and it'll show you what new stuff got like renewed, what got canceled.
Yeah,
anime, you wait for like 6 years, and you're just like you look it up and you're like, well, I guess it's never getting another season.
Yeah, then like 2 years later, they just randomly drop another season on you, like they did with Index, and it's like, oh.
I really liked Nura Rise of the Yokai.
Oh yeah,
I have all the manga for it, and they had 2 seasons. And then like it was one of the early shows I remember where like every single month I was like Googling if the 3rd season got announced.
Right.
And just, now it's been like 10 years. I have a feeling it's not coming out.
Probably not, unless there's a sudden resurgence in fandom. So.
Yeah, which is unlikely. I think they put it on Netflix and they put only season 2 on Netflix, like without even putting season 1.
I never understand when they do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something to do with weird rights to the show or something, but yeah.
I don't doubt it, but it's still like, come on.
Yeah. So the last episode was the one where it's the whole date with Sumi. This one starts off just the revelation of her being like, "Hey, I'm gonna stop being Rent-A-Girlfriend." That was the end of the last episode. So this one basically it starts off with the Mizuhara and Mommy. They're like weird hangout date.
Yeah, I still hate that name. I just want to note.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great name for English people.
Yeah,
that would be if the main character's name was Daddy Coon.
That's a whole. I think that exists.
Mommy-chan and Daddy-kun.
I think that exists, but I don't want to go to that part of the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Mommy and Mizuhara having their date, so to speak, and her demanding they end the relationship because Mommy's a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I thought she was going to be way more of a bitch in the whole conversation.
That is true. She was actually kind of grounded for her.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, like, she wasn't like coming out with it, like making fun of him or like, calling her like a slut or a whore or anything like that. She was really just being like, hey, like end this now because like it's just not funny. And then, Mizuhara was like, oh, do you have feelings for him? And she's like, I'm not telling. She's like, do you have feelings for him? She's like, no.
That was a very telling no, by the way, from her.
Yeah, there was also the struggle with the main character just being like, oh, you know what? Mizuhara is leaving. We're not going to talk anymore. I will just accept Haruka-chan as my like official girlfriend. Yeah, and he's like just about to do it, and he sees the two of them. He's like, oh wait.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, I can go back on my word. Yay.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, like once again, not the best character. Like if he isn't feeling it with Haruka-chan, just to go and try and date her because he thinks that he can't with Mizuhara.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something online, and I don't know if this is true, but there was a stat saying that 80% of Rent-A-Girlfriend fans are Redditors, and I almost believe it.
I can buy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will definitely say that out of the fall season, Mizuhara got best girl, right?
I'm still
out of the summer season.
I'm still leaning towards Sumi in my personal preferences.
Listen, that's just because you're cheating with your manga knowledge, though. If you were an anime watcher and we only got one episode, could you really be a Sumi fan?
I mean, I will fully admit, I'd still like her, but I'd probably be leading Mizuhara.
Yeah, to me, in that one episode, she came in as second best girl in the show. But like, there was way more time with Mizuhara. Maybe when you get like your second and third season.
And I mean, Mizuhara is the one you're supposed to be cheering for, I feel. So that is.
It depends on what you mean by cheering for. I'm not cheering for any of them to date the main character because he sucks.
Just for her to have everything work out.
Yeah, they should make a spinoff where he's not in it and it's just them.
I feel like that'd be better, but they'd still have Mommy-chan, which would just suck.
Maybe she'll become redeeming. We definitely learn in this episode there's some sort of
I'm gonna throw down a spoiler warning right here now. And
spoiler. Yeah.
No, she does not get better.
Okay,
at least nothing I remember.
So at the end of this episode, or like somewhere in the middle, it's like it implied that she's having like an affair with like an older man. Or something along that line.
It might be like an arranged marriage or...
Because, in the last episode, I remember we talked about this on one of the previous episodes, where like her brother comes in the room and he's like, oh, he's downstairs for you. And then this one, she gets in like the guy's car and like his face is like hidden.
There's definitely something going on.
What if it's a twist where she's also a rental girlfriend?
I mean, at this point...
It would make sense for all four of them to be, but...
It would be thematic.
You think that she would have already known about like Ruka and Mizuhara?
I mean, she's in the rookie group, right? I mean... If she's like old pro at it.
Yeah. The big the big thing. So like obviously they have their chat in the episode. No one really gets anywhere. No one admits feelings, anything like that. And then like the big part that cucked us all hard at the end is where Kazu finally like admits his feelings.
Yes,
and then he just changes back on in like a second. She's like, okay, and that's just the end of the season. Like, so we got nowhere in this season.
Yeah, I mean, there was that little scene with her behind the door just calling him an idiot. It's like, okay.
Yeah, so it's like he knows that he meant to say it. She knows what he was trying to say, but neither of them actually say it. And that's just the classic anime thing where no one ever says their feelings in anime till the finale.
I feel like this is worse. I feel like this is cringier because he actually goddamn said it.
Yeah, and then like he managed to get it out, and then he's just like, okay, that's too much though. We got to backtrack. We got to pull this back a little bit.
It's like, oh shit, I got somewhere. No. Abort.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't the worst, but it was definitely kind of like a cucking, like a little bit of an end cuck.
You really like that word, don't you?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you're not wrong, but yes.
The two big words on the internet right now are cuck and simp, and the main character is both of those two things in this show, so they nailed it.
I hate that you're right. I genuinely hate that you're right.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a bad ending, but it was like, I knew that anime never actually has the characters say their feelings until it's like a finale or until the show just never gets another season.
Yeah, I mean, and even then, this is the type of thing where they're not, even if they're slated to not get another season, they're probably just going to leave it off and hope they get renewed down the line.
Yeah, or maybe get like an OVA, like a couple episode OVA or something like that.
Yeah, but no one watches the OVAs. Let's be honest.
There's a lot of shows that I like that have recently come with OVAs, and I haven't watched them because I'm just like, until I am guaranteed another season, I will not watch the OVAs.
Yeah, you don't want to encourage this.
Yeah, like the slime.
They have like 4 OVAs at this point.
Yeah, won't watch them until a confirmed another season is coming out, or until it comes out. Then I'll watch the OVAs in between. Yeah,
because I actually heard there's another slime isekai coming out next season as well.
That's a lot of slime isekais.
Yeah, we're at 3 now.
A little too many. Do you have any other final thoughts on Rent-A-Girlfriend?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I watched it mostly to talk about it because I already knew it was going to go down. I mean, I will admit I forgot a lot of key details.
We discussed this before, but it's like an anime I looked forward to every week, but I wasn't 100% sure why.
I mean, you were watching with your fiance, now wife.
Yeah, and she watched I watched one of them without her, and then we had to double watch it so she would see it and stuff like that because I had to finish it before we got to an episode. But it's like a little trashy. It's not really. I wouldn't tell anyone it's like well written or anything like that. And like the main character's not even likable. So like you question why did I even like the show? But I was still looking forward to it each week, which I guess is the point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain enjoyment to cringe. I think it's the same reason you look at a car wreck or anything like that. You have to look. You're not sure why.
Yeah, and I definitely think if they would have done this, but in like high school, I would have been 100% less interested.
Oh, I wouldn't have even touched it.
Like the college thing isn't even like a main plot point. Like it's not like something that reoccurs or anything like that often, but it's just there to at least solidify the plot or like the setting for me, and I like that.
I mean, the college aspect did at least solidify that he has the free time to do this. He has no parents around or anything like that. I mean, anime protagonists never have parents around anyway.
Yeah, they're always on vacation for 6 years or
or they work overseas and they just decide that rent a second home so their kid can keep going to school in Japan or something.
Yep. And yeah, that's just kind of how it works out. But yeah, I was just very happy that they went with the college setting. It was one of the things that made the show a little bit better for me.
Yeah,
I'm still obviously excited for another season. I definitely think it'll get another season too.
I wouldn't be surprised. It had enough clout behind it, enough talk that it's probably going to get one at some point. I don't know if it's going to be in the next few seasons. I think.
I feel like it'll be like a full year. Like I feel like we'll see it next summer. To me, it very much feels either like a spring or a summer anime. And then I don't think we're going to be getting it as soon as this spring. But,
definitely not.
But I think 1 year from now in summer or spring.
I mean, I feel like I saw something about it getting a second season, but I don't think I saw a release date. So
you see so little shows with confirmed other seasons, except for like Beaufrey, for instance. I saw that they like immediately they had like a confirmed new season. I was like, oh well.
Yeah, usually they have a confirmed second season. They'll drop it at the end credits if they've already been renewed. But this might have been something delayed, or it might. Just
or you get really sad stuff like Free, the last season of Free, where they said coming, or like splashing soon in this time, and then because of COVID got delayed.
Yeah, I remember how
Rest in peace.
Your heart broke that day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still getting it at least. It's not canceled.
Yeah, true.
No one ever thought we were going to get this much Free, so let's just be happy.
I'm not going to lie. When you made me watch the first season, I did not expect what it got.
It was surprisingly not as bad as people thought.
I mean, I'm not even going to get into my thoughts on this right now.
We'll have to have a full separate episode just for Free.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Rent-A-Girlfriend. Obviously, if it ever comes out in the future, any OVAs, movies, second season, we'll probably be covering that because we're trashy. But yeah, next up on the list, and also very close to Rent-A-Girlfriend, in a lot of my opinions, is Uzaki-chan. Wants to hang out.
Another time filler anime, another college-based anime.
Another college-based slice of life comedy. Yeah. Very, very close to Rent-A-Girlfriend in a sense, except for no girlfriends are rented. I'm going to start by saying the very last thing on the last episode was us guessing what like the plot was.
Yeah.
And one of the guesses was that it's nothing. The show was just trying to like,
Yeah. Total red herring.
Yeah. And like it's not like they try to drag it on. It immediately starts. She's crying. Basically it's just her wanting help with her homework is all it is.
Literally, not even 30 seconds. I think they kept the pretense up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was before the opening. They did that and then opening rolled and then it gets into the episode. Uzaki-chan is the one every single week that I 100% forget the most of. Which it's not like it's a bad thing on the show. It's what the show is. It's just like a relaxing watch this, have a little bit of fun, like nice, no high stakes. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this episode was a little different in that regard because there was a little bit more of happening. But
yeah, which is funny because I still remember none of it except for the fact that I thought when I watched it, I was like, man, a year's gone by. Like, that's a lot. Like technically since the very start of the show, 2 years have gone by. Because it starts with the show and then it immediately time skips a year and then it starts. But now they're starting school up again, which means it's been a whole nother year. So they went through one whole year in like 12 episodes. But I'm used to anime can take like a full season on like 2 months. It has like 4 episodes with like a camping episode or something.
Or you get other shows, especially ones that focus on high school, I find, where time is kind of fluid, where they never actually discuss anything.
Yeah, the only things, and like, especially because we're obviously, not Asian. We're not, Japanese or anything like that. But a lot of the time is probably based off like when the festivals are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's how you would try to know, but I don't know when those things are, but sometimes they'll be like, it's just like, hey, it's a beach episode, must be summer. Oh, hey, it's a mountain ski resort episode, it must be winter. That's how I like judge the time, but it's never like really mentioned in most of them. But this one is just a solid time period because I guess college is easier to do times with, even though school also goes on a yearly basis.
I mean, I don't even think it's that. I think it's just the nature of this show makes you really feel like if they need to, they worst case can just time skip back.
Well, the nice part is though with high school anime is that they can't like leave high school because that like ruins the anime.
Yeah,
it's not like a lot of like Western TV dramas where eventually they get to these like college seasons that everyone hates. They just never do that in anime. It's a high school anime like never goes outside of high school other than for like trips.
Yeah,
but with college, I can actually reasonably see a college anime going past college. But I don't think it's going to happen with Uzaki-chan. It's not the one.
There's definitely a structure issue with that. I mean, you never really see them in class that often, so it's not going to hit that content.
You know what's a high school anime that went outside of high school?
What?
Clannad.
Oh God, yeah.
The second season, obviously, a lot of depressing stuff in the second season. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Yeah. But like, it goes to the main character getting like a job, being like the workforce in his early 20s, and it's like, hey, that doesn't happen in anime very often from a high school anime.
I mean, I honestly think that's a big part of the reason why Clannad sticks out so much.
People still know about it, and just all the depressing shit. People love depression.
I mean, yeah, that studio in general is just an asshole. So.
Yeah, it's true. I've tried to rewatch it, and it is hard to rewatch though, because like the voice acting and like the art style and that kind of stuff.
I honestly think I'd go to sub for my second watch if I did.
Yeah, always a good choice, especially when you're revisiting old stuff.
Yeah, because older, like there were some great voice actors. Don't get me wrong, but some of them just didn't care.
Yeah, and I also feel like it wasn't necessarily the voice actors. A lot of times people forget about like, the fact that there are directors and, certain scripts and that kind of stuff. And a lot of times it just seemed like stuff was done really wrong for a lot of those old animes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I'm talking more about like when you get the person trying to play a little girl, so they do like a really squeaky voice or something like that.
Do you remember one of the characters in Clannad? I was watching someone's video about voice acting before, and one of the videos about Clannad was that they literally had this like female teacher, and they just had like a male dude like voice act them. And I'm just like, why? You would, and it wasn't like part of the character. She just comes and says a few things, like a teacher like finding one of the main characters hiding, and it's like the stupidest voice I've ever heard. And they just had that in, and I was like, you couldn't find a female?
Yeah.
You have all this other female cast. You couldn't have got them just to do that voice for that like 10 seconds.
Hey, deepen your voice for 3 lines.
Because it wasn't like a funny gag. Like sometimes you do that in anime as like a gag.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those. I don't know what the hell happened, but
yeah. I mean, that happens. I think we're a little off topic, though.
Yeah, it was because Uzaki-chan is meant to be off topic,
I mean, you're not wrong.
But so that happens. The whole point is basically that she wanted help with her studies. So he's like, oh, I'll help you finish like your summer homework. And then a lot of it's just like she gets a little bit depressed because they have to go back to school.
Yeah.
And that's like all I remember. And then
you don't remember them getting blitzed.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, so this is the episode then where she's like, hey, I'm kind of embarrassed because he saw me so drunk. And then so she gets him drunk using all these special tactics. One of them's a shark movie. Listen, I love shark movies, and I don't get drunk every time I watch them.
I mean, no one's ever tried to get you drunk watching them.
I think it's supposed to be like the tension of I agree the same with like a horror movie, right? It's like you want something to do with your body to kind of relieve some of the tension you have.
That's definitely a good thing, and I think he also just said like he just doesn't pay attention when he's watching them because she was being fed this by his friend. Let's not forget.
Yeah, But then basically, so she gets him wasted, and then he like briefly says like "I love," and then she like doesn't even listen to the rest. She kind of panics and thinks that he's trying to admit his feelings for her. So then she has to get wasted because she's so embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then and she ends up sleeping there, and then they go to work the next day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she slept there," and they're just like, "Tell me more." They like slide like a drink over, like and.
Basically, yeah, and they're just like, yeah, we don't actually remember what happened though. And like, let's not forget the friend rolled up and then both absolutely hammered. Just like, I think I can have fun with this.
Yeah. But like, I mean, like I like a lot of the. Once again, it's just like the age thing. It's like they're in their early 20s. That's more. I mean, I'm not in my early 20s anymore, but it's more understandable for me. I can relate to it more.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I just like it. There's like this kind of conversation there about like drinking, which you don't get in anime very often.
Yeah, because I think in anime where you had an episode where a bunch of like 15 or 16-year-olds just sat around and got wasted, it'd have a completely
I still
different
remember
connotation.
you've never seen Real Life, right? We talked about that before.
Not yet, no.
You'd like it, but there's one point where he's smoking and the teacher finds smokes, but because he's like in his late 20s, but he's like pretending to be like a teenager,
right?
There was like a lot of really funny parts of that. Like his friends were coming to his apartment, he had to clean up he had to get rid of all the beer cans, and he had to like try and hide the smell of smoke and stuff like that. Like there was a lot of cool parts with that. Right. But yeah, I don't know. It's not that I don't think like the anime is cool because it shows drinking, but it's at least more relatable because you're mostly getting high school anime or anime with like teenagers in like fantasy settings, and you're not getting a lot of ones that are closer to our age period. Which is nice. That's probably why I liked Real Life so much, is because the main character is like someone in his late 20s, and he's he's starting to decide if he's been doing everything wrong up to this point and that kind of stuff. So it's very relatable to a lot of people our age. But Uzaki's close. It's not quite at our age, but it's close at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Closer than me trying to remember what it feels like to be like a 15-year-old in high school, and it felt nothing like what I've seen in anime. Well, maybe School Days, but
I will slap you.
But
we do not talk about that show.
Yeah, I don't know. That's if Mike was here, he'd agree. He'd agree that Cam was School Days.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I don't. So what else happened after that? So they go back to school. I remember she's like all kind of depressed. She like is sad they're going back. She just wants to play more games and hang out. And then he's like, oh, like we'll still hang out like all the time.
Yeah, he's like, just because we're back at school doesn't mean you're not going to come to my place. It's like you basically live there at this point.
Yeah, there's been a very large turnaround in 13 episodes, which I like. A lot of you don't have to see it all, but there's been character development because now we know it's been a full year. If it just went like if this was only like 2 months and now he went from like never want to hang out to now he's like cool just hanging out with her all the time, I'd be like like he really changed his opinion on that. But it's been a full year of her constantly bugging him. He's kind of been worn down, a little bit like Stockholm syndrome.
That's a really apt way to put it, actually.
Yeah, but at least like I don't know. I like the character development. I think did they show any flashbacks in this one? I think they do, right? I feel like it was either this one or the last episode where we get a few flashbacks of like, high school.
I think it was the last one.
Okay, I was going to say it's one of the most recent ones. I mean, 3 or 2 weeks away. It all kind of blends in.
Yeah, I mean, they might have shown a brief one towards the start when she was getting the drinking tips.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember if that was this episode or last episode.
Yeah. And did it literally just end with them at school and her being like, oh, we're not going to be able to hang out? And he's like,
that was the end.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, nothing crazy. No huge cliffhangers being like, hey, get ready for next season.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do another season because they could just kind of sneak it in. But
yeah, I mean, they could. There's like nothing. It's both like they could not do another season and they could do another season. It would work either way. Because another season will just be the exact same shit. Maybe they'll slightly up the romance a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, give a little bit more hints about them getting together, stuff like that. But
yeah, the biggest problem is like if she's a second year and he's a third year in college, how much longer do they have?
depends on what he's going to college for. I don't really.
I know
I don't fully understand a lot of Japanese schooling, to be honest, because sometimes it confuses me. So
I mean, me too. And I was just like, did they ever actually mention what they're studying?
Yeah, I don't know if he has like a major or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
I feel like they brought up like a psych or a physics course at some point, or
maybe because all we know that he's good at is we know he's good at being a butler guy in the cafe.
He's good at his job,
and he's good at sports.
Yeah,
or he's an athletic man. He was good at swimming, but apparently not good enough at swimming to be in free. So garbage.
Calm down.
Yeah, that's honestly it for Uzaki. There's not much else in the episode we can talk about.
Yeah, it's a relatively light show, so I'm actually surprised we ended up talking about it this season. Thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just because it was like the thing, especially when we started doing the podcast like 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, the controversy definitely brought that up a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about Uzaki-chan, so we needed to be in the talk just in case. You just needed to have the information in case, it gets even bigger. If there was like a point where, the chat just spiked even more, you have like celebrities coming in on their opinions about whether or not you're a pedophile if you watch Uzaki. Like once that really started spiking, we could have been in there, but it just never happened. People let it go, kind of dropped.
I mean, yeah.
And now, really, people should not be bringing it up anymore anyways, now that it's over. But
I mean, people still will.
People will, especially when we hear about like a season 2 or this is definitely a show that'll have some OVAs, I think.
Yeah, it's going to get something. I don't know if it's going to get another season or if it's just going to be...
Maybe at like Christmas time, we'll get like a Christmas episode OVA or like a ski trip or something.
I think that'd be pretty apt.
I could see it for sure.
Yeah.
Him trying to figure out, do I buy her a Christmas gift? Like, it could happen. I mean, they kind of did that in like the birthday gift thing.
Yeah.
But we'll revisit that in Christmas.
Yeah. This type of show is definitely not afraid to recycle and do different jokes.
Yeah, easily. Because, why not? They know, you're not watching this for the super intellectual plot line. You're just watching this show like, hey, I'm laying down or I'm sitting down. I'm just ready to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Let me watch the anime.
Yeah, which is definitely where this show shines. It's not something you have to think too hard about. It's not something that's going to make you go, wait, what? You're just going to sit down. You're going to enjoy your time. And yeah. I don't know if I'm still going to be talking about this in a year's time unless it gets another season.
Yeah, probably not. We'll probably talk about it when it gets another season or an OVA, and that'll be it. It's not going to be like every day, like, oh, do you remember Uzaki-chan?
Yeah.
Crazy what happened at the end there, right? Where they went to school.
But I think we only saw him go to school like twice in the entire show, so it was kind of odd. But yeah, my guess, OVA coming in the winter. Other than that, we'll have to wait to see if anything comes out about a season 2. Next up, Misfit of Demon King Academy. So I just watched this one the other day, so my memory of this one is slightly better. Okay.
Because I forgot about this completely. Like in the last 2 weeks since everything ended, I thought I caught up on everything. And I was like, okay, I watched it all. I'm ready for our finale episode. And then I'm like, oh shit! I was scrolling through Crunchyroll and I was like, oh, I never watched the last episode of Demon King.
I think you were talking to me this the day you were watching King's Raid actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which just what, it worked out well because it means it's fresh in my mind.
True.
A lot happened. So obviously, the last episode we got the reveal that Lei is in fact the reincarnation of hero canon.
Yep.
And then in this one we get the revelation of his plan. So he, it reveals why he made this plan. Obviously, we knew that he wasn't going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, it was obvious he had some greater plan. It was for some good purpose. It was kind of twisted. There's no denying that.
Yeah. So in general, might as well just go over his plan real fast. His plan was basically. He used, as he died and got killed by humans, he used his magic so freaking good. He basically used his magic to change the fabric of being, and he basically made everybody believe that the Demon King is actually
Yeah, I think it was something to do with the sword can change fate. And
yeah, it was definitely the sword. So basically, he changed the name of the Demon King to Avos Delhavia or whatever the hell it is, and basically just so he could come back as Delhavia, let someone kill him and then have the war kind of be over. Not that would work anyways.
That's kind of what they did the first time and it didn't work. So that was what I was kind of confused.
He figured that if the Demon King was killed in front of everybody, that Jurga's hate spell that he made would end. But would it though? I don't think it would.
Yeah, because it was directed towards the actual Demon King.
It's directed towards all demons too. So I feel as long as there are any demons, that would not end. So not a flawless plan by him.
Yeah, which that's exactly what happens. He's like, did you really think that would work?
Yeah.
That's very much a villain from this type of show's answer, but
yeah, the Anna says something in this episode that's another one of those super overpowered things. I don't remember what it was though. It wasn't as cool as
yeah, it was something you destroyed my source, but did you think that would destroy me?
Yeah, so basically, Anos, of course, being good guy, best boy. He then fights with Lei / Canon, and then last second he lets him stab him through his source, and then quickly outfit swaps, so makes himself be wearing the Delhavia mask, and then changes Lei's outfit to a hero-y outfit, and his to more the demon outfit, to make it look like the Demon King's still dead, to kind of finish, to fill his wish, except for without having hero canon sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
Obviously that only lasted 10 seconds anyways.
Yeah, the moment it even happened, I'm like, yeah, you're not dead.
Yeah, so the Jurga's magic takes hold. He basically, fills everyone with hate still. Lei tries to fight him off with the rest of them. We get a nice little fusion dance between Misha and Sasha.
Yeah. Which I feel like if they could have done that, they could have done that so much earlier.
Also, their fusion name could just be Sasha. So that's cheating.
Yeah, but is that really your problem?
That's all I was thinking about. I was trying to think of their fusion name, and I was like, Masha? It was either Masha or Sasha, and I was like, but Sasha's already one of the names, so it can't be that. So it has to be Masha.
Yeah.
So because you can't Misha, if you try and just combine them, they just make the same. I guess that's maybe the point.
I mean, they were technically the same person to start, so
I think that might be like the point of their name. Someone probably thought of like, hey,
we also might be looking a little too deep into this.
No, we're not looking deep enough. I'm still under the impression that the writer of the show is actually a secret genius, and he's just trolling everybody.
I just don't know, because there are parts of the show that I see and I think no one gives a shit about it, and there are other parts that make me think, man, this is actually really good.
Yeah, I think that's the show's thing.
Yeah, because like every time the fan club sings, they don't like sync up at all, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, we laughed at it the last time, and of course it did happen again in this episode. But so they try and fight off the Jirga. He basically reincarnates himself, summons himself.
He basically, I want to say summons like a Jaeger.
Yeah, I mean, there's we don't know the deep magic lore, so we don't know exactly how he does it. But yeah, so he just like resummons himself as like a giant god man, basically. Yeah. And they're losing against him. And then what do you know? Anos actually isn't dead. He comes back and he's like, yeah, you think destroying my source was enough to finish me? And because I mean, it should be technically.
Yeah, it's like I just cast a special spell that revives me if I'm killed by a certain attack that I've been hit by before. That also killed me. It's like,
it's literally
who invented that spell?
No move can work twice on me.
Like, who created a spell so specific that if it kills you, if you're then reincarnated and someone kills you with the same spell, it brings you back?
Listen, he's the type of guy where it's like you think you're 10 moves ahead in checkers, but he's actually playing chess. That's like
so he's Aizen.
Yeah, basically, yes. But yeah, so he comes back, and then the rest of the episode basically just becomes this big like fight between him and Cannon versus Jirga. A lot of shit. Like he gets his fan club back to sing. And the guy's like, you think that's enough? And it's like, yes, we all think that's enough. We've already seen this done before. We know.
Honestly, I thought it was enough before they started to sing, but I guess we needed them.
They get into like a little like music video where like they're slowly like popping out of the screen like one at a time.
None of them are in sync. None of the moves are moving at the same. Mouths are moving at the same time. And
yeah, it's
man.
I mean, it's funny. I still feel like it has to be joking on itself a little bit. Like it's got to be in on the joke. We assume. But yeah, then basically they just beat him, and then everything kind of they switch back into the regular outfits. I did like the whole part where like the even as they were getting attacked, all of the little clones were coming at the demons, like in the demon army. Yeah. They still refuse to attack. They're like, no. And then that's why then the human has to hop in and kind of save them. I still don't like her thing with like the kids and stuff. And then at the end he goes, and then at the end when he goes to like the parents' house and they're like, wait till they find out how many kids he has now. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he solved her problem in literally like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it was no problem.
He's like, yeah, no, I just turned you to my magic.
He's like, now you're my magic. It's like,
it's like couldn't you have opened with that? That would have solved like so many problems.
Yeah, and just like her and the 1,000 exploding kids thing.
Yeah, was it 1,000 or was it 10,000?
Yeah, it could be 1,000,000 for all I know. It might change every single time.
It's 10,000. I wrote that down specifically, and his parents were just cool with it.
Yeah, it was like a joke originally. I thought they were just going to leave it that joke where like, he's introducing Eleanor to like his parents. Yeah. And they're like, oh, another wife. And then like Sasha and Misha joking to each other like, oh, wait till I find out about the kids. And then like literally then I thought that was like funny enough joke right there. Yeah. But then they like explained the joke by like then showing like the parents being like, oh, kids. I'm like, oh no, the joke was funny before you had to explain it.
And the mother actually acknowledged the 10,000 part. And I was like, you're way too calm about having 10,000 grandkids.
I mean, would you be surprised at anything now when your baby came out was just like, oh, we're going to name him Otto's Foldy Gold?
I mean, okay, yeah.
I think you would just accept everything that happens.
I almost feel like they're just like, they broke and they're just insane at this point.
Yeah. So it was a good episode.
Yeah.
There's not tons to talk about because most of it was just like classic anime fighting. Yeah. One guy, he looks like he's winning, but then the other one's actually power up and like it was all part of their plan the whole time and it just kind of swaps back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, the fights were good for what they are. I don't think this was a very action-heavy show.
No, yeah, a lot of it's just like big explosion stuff or like, insta-loses or stuff like that or some sword slashes. Like, it's not like crazy cool animation. But
a lot of Anno's making people his bitch.
Yeah, a lot of like bad guys thinking they can't possibly lose, but us, the audience, and everyone else is like, okay, we already know you. There's not a chance you're winning, right? This is how the show goes. We've learned this. But it was still an entertaining episode, entertaining season.
It was.
Even like Ian, one of our friends, messaged and he's like, hey, like, have you guys watched this show? Like, is it good? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, dude, you like Superman? You like One Punch Man? I was like, maybe you'll like the show. I was like, give it a watch.
Yeah. We also told him to watch the podcast.
That's true. We did. Yeah. Because I was like, hey, you want an opinion on the show? Watch the podcast. Get it all spoiled for you. Watch the one right now, but the finale.
I mean, we opened with our general feelings about the show. I don't think we got too spoiler heavy on that.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, he likes shit like One Punch Man, which is very close. It's like the main character is so powerful. We, as the audience, know we can't lose. It has some comedy.
Yeah, I mean, One Punch Man's more directly into the comedy. Well, this had a little bit more drama, but...
Yeah, I feel like One Punch Man Octopus like looks a little bit better, like action wise, at least season 1.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, you like that? You like Superman? He's an OP character that's kind of boring to me. I was like, maybe you'll like this show. I was like, give it a try. So yeah, I do recommend the show. It was good. I don't know if we're gonna get a season 2. This one's a little more questionable.
This is the type of show I feel like they get stuck at the 13 episode mark and they never get renewed, because that was very much a finale episode.
Well, there's also no other pre-existing plot. There's nothing else. You can make a new plot.
Yeah.
Like a lot of shows do. Like that's, but like a lot of good shows, you have this underlying plot that's set up sometime in advance. So you know, like, hey, this might be done, but like there's still this guy in the background. But this one, it's all done.
Yeah, they tied up all the loose ends. There's nothing left to chase.
Yeah, like so there's nothing that already exists that could be an issue for the future seasons. They'd have to invent something new, which I mean, you could very easily do.
Yeah,
you know,
like I feel like this was based on light novels, if I remember correctly. I think someone mentioned that.
Yeah, someone in the comments said that there's like 4 or like a 5th one coming out soon, or there's 3 and a 4th one coming out soon.
Yeah, I don't think this would have covered all the content, so there's probably something else established.
Yeah, they probably just in the next season you just make up like a new demon guy comes out and he's strong, so like easy to do.
I mean, it is possible that was in the original light novels and they just skipped over it for content reasons, or
yeah, it's possible. But yeah, it's definitely not, especially if there's more light novels. It's not impossible for us to see another season, but this is a harder one to judge how well it was received.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those mid-grade could get another season animes.
I feel like if you watched this all the way through, you would have definitely enjoyed it, and you'd be like, I'd watch another season. But it's very possible you got like 2 episodes in and you didn't understand the joke, and so you stopped watching. I can see that.
This is one of those shows that I feel like a lot of people probably axed it around episode 5, which I know is a common practice for some people. So
yeah, I could definitely see it, especially if you did like if you. I don't know. Once again, we can't confirm that this is a joke. That the author and us are all kind of in on it, but that's definitely the feeling that I think we both get. So I feel like if you're someone who's watching it, you're like, what a stupid line! Like you thought killing me was enough to make me die. Like who fucking wrote this? Like a 14-year. Like if you somehow didn't understand like the comedy in it, I definitely think you'd be like, oh, this is a shit anime. I'm not gonna watch this anymore.
Yeah, which it definitely wrote that line at a few points. So
yeah, so I mean, it really just depends on who you are watching it. But there's definitely some people who probably watch this and would not care. But I think if you watched all episodes, you'd probably be like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Nothing to write home about, but I'd watch another season if it came out. So
yeah,
that's just where we're left off. This is not a type of show, in my opinion, they'd get like an OVA or something.
No, it's either a full second 13 episode season or nothing. They're not going to get an OVA.
Yeah, and that will just be here waiting, I suppose. It could be a year, could be 4 years, could be never.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, if it doesn't get anything in the next 2 years, I don't think anyone's going to remember it.
No, probably not. It doesn't have that it doesn't have like the Attack on Titan, like you can manage to pull off like a 4 or 5 year break and people still care.
Yeah, it doesn't have that deep plot. It doesn't have the characters.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't remember Sasha and Misha's names until you said them.
Well, it's because they like combine to make Masha.
I mean, yes and no, but
yeah, there are some characters like I really liked Anos as a character. We don't really get his maybe we'll get like a prequel kind of thing. Like there's probably a lot of stories about before with his other demon, like all of his demon lords and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that in this. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that,
because we don't know why he became good. Because he was clearly at some point evil or like a dick.
I mean, they kind of talk about it. They just talk about how he's just sick of everyone having to kill each other.
Yeah, but I mean, why would a demon lord get sick of people having to kill each other?
I mean, if I had to do that for a few thousand years, I'd probably get sick of it too.
But that's supposed to be his job, That's what he's good at, what he's supposed to love. He's supposed to be born loving
I get bored
hate.
of my job every day.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't get to be cool demon lords at our job.
I mean,
well, some people might argue we do, but
okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely good. But yeah, if nothing is announced within a year, even within a year, we'll probably forget about it. But we'd see an announcement, then immediately be like, oh, I remember that show. But if nothing gets announced, it'll be forgotten one day.
Yeah.
But that's just part of life. Nothing we can do about it. It was still enjoyable. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're watching this, but go watch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good shows that only get one season, so there's always hope. So.
Yeah. So next up on the list is Gotta High School. So this was definitely a big one for the season.
Oh, yeah. The last episode of Crunchyroll's second anime.
Yep. Before the start of Crunchyroll's third anime.
Yeah.
The episode was good. I try to think of... So it obviously starts off with, the dude just basically became God at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, how are they going to fight him? Real quick, would like to say he is Son Goku, basically. Yeah. Technically, I think he's Seisen Tyson or something like that.
Yeah,
which is Sun. Yeah, which is Sun Wukong, but also known as Son Goku in some circles.
Yeah, I know.
I
knew that was going to come up first thing.
Yeah, so early call out. I mean, I'm sure everybody guessed the same, but I also guessed it. So OP, I'm the best. No surprise. It was like the one episode where he had like he like literally held like almost like a staff for a second. And I was like, you know what? He has monkey characteristics. He's a monkey boy.
Yeah, especially when he got like a power up from eating the goddamn bananas and shit.
It's just like a lot of, I don't know why. It's like the high energy, like he gave me a lot of monkey vibes. And then as soon as I saw
his facial
like,
expressions lean into that.
Yeah. So the episode was like good. The fighting was obviously really good. It's basically, it starts off with, I can never remember. Yes. He just starts kicking people's ass because, he's like a god now. They tried fighting him and it just does not work out. But then don't worry because, Jin goes cool monkey god mode.
Yeah. Which I do want to note something about the fight. All the fight music tracks were probably some of my favorite this season.
Yeah, they were good. It's one of those things where like I don't actively notice them, which to me, I take that as a compliment. I'm not like...
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, it's perfectly in there to make everything blend together. It's like a seamless thing. It's flawless. But I just know that when I think back on it, I was like, oh, but it must have been good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be like, oh, what's the beat? Like I couldn't do that for like a background track. But when I watched it, it all flowed together really well. So I was like, oh, that was really good.
Crunchyroll's definitely doing a good job with their...
Obviously, the fighting in the show was also really good too.
Oh yeah,
I had like this downside of my internet was being shit that night, so it was kind of like either buffering every now and then, or like the quality like dropped.
I specifically watched this on my break at work, so I'd have solid internet. So.
Yeah, I don't remember what was going on, but it kind of sucked. But like after like the first like 10 minutes, like the first half, it stopped like buffering and stuff, which was nice. But it was mostly a fight. Like in general, you get a little bit of backstory as to who like Sun Wukong or basically it is.
They had a scene of the Monkey King.
Yeah, the thing is, and what's even said in this is that all the other people, the Charyok, is basically borrowing the powers of God.
Yeah.
He is not borrowing the powers of God. He just is a god.
Yeah, which that raises a few more questions than it does.
Well, the thing is,
answers.
We never seen his parents. We don't know his parents. I feel like there's something with his grandfather just found him or something, or he was either reincarnated or he was just like, he lost his power and he became like a child or something like that from something.
Yeah.
But
which, I mean, towards the end of the episode, they talk about going to, what was it called? I don't remember what it's called, but Titan Taisei's homeland.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me almost wonder, like, did his grandfather go there and just steal a baby?
Maybe. Sometimes you gotta just go somewhere and steal a baby, like. But that's like obviously leading us towards the second season.
Yeah.
Which isn't surprising. I think most of us were kind of expecting a second season to this.
Yeah. With everything behind this, Crunchyroll is not going to let it go.
The only thing that's kind of weird is that the name of the show is God of High School, and there's no more God of High School. So it seems like a naming principle that could have been better.
I mean, they're still technically high school students.
I mean, I haven't seen them go to school yet. Have you?
No.
Yeah. So they're, and for some reason, like Yumira, for instance, is always wearing a school uniform. Never seen her go to school.
I mean, I feel like they probably got leaves. Like, hey, there's this super big tournament where I can win the powers of a god, basically. You mind if I take a few weeks off school?
Maybe, but now, yeah, it's like the ending. The most of the episodes of fight, you get a little bit of background on like the whole like Sun Wukong thing with Jin. He goes kind of like, his eyes get less sparkly and they get like a different sparkly. They turn like blue or some shit. He goes 8 mode, they fight. He wins fight. Very simple.
Yeah, Jigo comes back with the formless mode, or...
Yeah, where he's all like just a beast monster-y thing.
Yeah, he's also showing off everyone he's absorbed and all that.
Yeah, and then once he loses, he eats himself. So that's always good. But we do get a very Inuyasha moment where the key is actually shattered into a bunch of pieces.
Yeah.
So, now they have to collect all the pieces of the key.
Yeah, which it was kind of interesting because they didn't give that to the main characters. They gave that to...
Ilpio and his crew, who were all wonderfully healed, of course. Jin, technically being the victor, got his one wish. And then as soon as they were asked, he was like, oh, my grandpa. And then he's like, oh, wait. Yeah, all these fucking people.
I do have to give them credit. Having that moment of, like, hey, this is what I want. Oh, shit, that's not what's good for everyone. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know he's like a kind of like a shonen protagonist. He's going to do the right thing, as they typically do. But at least showing that, like, for a split second, he only thought about what he wanted. Then he's like, oh, damn it, wait. He, like, looked around. He's like, missing an arm, missing a leg, handicap, super injured, all the rest of you. He's like, I guess.
Yeah, heal everyone up, undo all the damage. Like, I feel like he could have brought, like, the city back if he worded it better.
Yeah, the only other thing, and, like, so it's the lady, basically, was sealed up. And she's the person she was supposed to, when the God of High School was over, she would come out and grant the person her wish.
Which, something interesting, she described herself as the progenitor of mankind.
Yeah.
Is this bitch Eve? Like,
the other thing that I found funny, because like I mentioned a second ago that, like, he, like, Jin, for instance, is the actual god, and that he was found as a child. But I mean, when she uses her power for the wish, she becomes a child. So maybe he had to use all his power, lost his memory, became a child again. We don't know if they have to age all the way back up. We don't know yet. It's possible though.
I mean, yeah,
An early theory right there. But yeah, so she grants the wish, he heals the friends, and then we're getting there's two basically things that next season. There's the whole key being shattered.
Yeah.
That's a possible thing, and then they say they're gonna go to his homeland to learn more stuff, and then obviously we still at the very end we see his grandpa, missing his arm, all beat up and that kind of stuff, and it's just kind of he's out there. They still have to find him too. There's definitely still some plot going on.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of loose ends, and they're definitely going to get to that eventually. I don't think we're going to touch on the key that much though.
Yeah, it seems weird to put it unless they just happen to find pieces of it on their way, or it's just unless the show splits, views, which we talked about on our last episode about how that's a cool thing, but anime never does it. Unless they half show Ilpio and his group trying to get all the key fragments.
Yeah, the only problem with that, I have no idea what the one guy even does.
Yeah, it's because we didn't get to see him fight.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
Maybe he's so OP we're saving him for season 2.
So help me God, if he just busts out some super powerful moves at some point.
Listen, he might. We never got to see him fight. The thing is that Jin, it started off with Daewee versus the lady.
Yeah.
And Daewee won, and then the very next fight was Jin versus Ilpio, and then Jin won. So you'd never get to see the third person fight.
Yeah.
It seems to me like what they did all the time is they would make the other people fight first to get one loss, one victory to make the third one have more drama behind it. But this one they're just fuck it, we don't care about. So either they're we don't care about this character. But then they gave him story. They gave him a little bit of plot, a little bit of he has some lines after. So you're well, maybe he is good. We're just saving him until season 2.
I mean, did he really say anything though? He was just oh look, snacks. Oh hey, Jin.
That's a lot of character development right there. Gonna be big character season 2.
From being mindless, yeah. But.
Yeah, big character season 2 calling it. But yeah, I don't think anyone's really shocked that the season 2 is probably coming. Yeah. All the Crunchyroll originals so far have done really well. If you've watched Tower of God, the very big obvious season 2 coming for that too. Leaves off with a time skip and some, stuff like that. Yeah. So, not surprising. Do you think you have a guess as to when we'll get a season 2?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing their new seasons coming out next year, because I don't know if they have anything lined up after Noblesse.
Yeah, no, I'm sure if they did, it'd probably be another webtoon, but I haven't heard anything yet. So
yeah, I don't know if they're just going to cycle the 3. I don't think they're going to try and double up on them many times. But
yeah, I mean, they might as well wait. These obviously, so far, they've all been successful. Yeah. I don't know about Noblesse or, what its prospects are yet. We're only one episode in. But so far, these have all been successful. So there's a good chance that they're just going to keep these 3 for now and just do their next seasons before starting to think out. Maybe after these are successful, they'll be hey, we'll add one more to the lineup or something. Yeah,
because even for seasoned veteran studios, doing more than one series at a time can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, especially, and at this rate, if they're all going to be successful too, that's a lot. It's a lot. You just keep the quality up and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, especially with these types of shows, if the quality drops, I don't know if I would have been able to get through God of High School.
No, I mean, just think of things like fucking Seven Deadly Sins. Think of animation. Yes. Think of animation quality. Even One Punch Man season 2, new studio. People still liked the show. People still liked the season, but the animation drop quality really affected a lot of the fan base.
Which I think the big thing was the animation wasn't horrible. Mm-hmm. It's because they came from was it Madhouse?
Yeah, season 1 was so freaking good.
Yeah, and that's the problem with. I'm gonna throw a little shit at Madhouse. They only do 1 season shows.
Yeah.
If a show gets a second season, they don't touch it.
Whoa. That's too much. Too much pressure on our shoulders. Let's stick to our 1 season.
So any show that they do is kind of cursed with their second season because they do such good work.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of sucks. But I heard from people who watched it, because I never saw season 2, that it was still a good season. But yeah, the animation compared to the first one is the big point. But yeah, God of High School, good. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Watch all the Crunchyroll originals so far. They've done a really good job. Yeah. Webtoons are really cool. That's,
Yeah, we'll be touching on Noblesse with the next episode. So
yeah, because they came out since our last one, the first episode. Yeah. So look forward to that on episode 6. Next up on the list is probably the biggest show we talk about, which is sad that it's now over for the current season, because is what 90% of our comments were about, all the discussions, and that was the current season of ReZero. So the season isn't over. It's still season 2 when we continue, but they're taking a break. So You'll have the second half of season 2. Who knows when? I don't know if they've already announced it. It's not going to be a 5-year thing. It'll either be...
Yeah, I feel like they said they were taking a 1-season break, but I don't know if that's true.
I could see that. I could see it. And that's okay. Having one, especially with all the shows we have this season, that's fine. Oh, yeah. I obviously would have liked if they just continued all the episodes right through. But what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind dropping one of our shows for another season of ReZero.
Yeah, or just watching one other show. You know, I have enough time in the day to watch all the anime.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, maybe not everyone, but yeah. So ReZero, big one. It was like 2 episodes ago where someone, you know, we were talking about how we were excited that at least it's like a 25 episode show, and then someone in the comments like, "Hey, hate to burst your bubble, but it's taking a break," and I'm like, "God damn it!"
It's going to be 25 episodes technically.
Yeah, just not all at once.
Yeah, not concurrently.
So this episode, once again, a lot of witch talk.
I think we're at that point in the show where we have to give the witch talk to build up the next part.
Yeah, we come in on this episode with the you know, the main witch, the Witch of Envy, coming into play. So she comes in the party, and then we're still getting. I was trying to think about this because, you know, I really like ReZero obviously, and it sticks in my mind a lot. But a lot of this episode to me was very close to the last episode.
Yeah,
the last episode, a lot of witch dialogue. This episode, almost entirely witch dialogue.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was very much in the tea party. It was very much him talking to the witches again.
Yeah. Which is like the same thing we had last episode. It's not that this wasn't like, I wasn't bored while watching this because you're getting all new information.
Oh, God, yeah.
But when I was trying to think back on it and be like, okay, like what are some of the key points of this? I could very easily mix up the 2 episodes because I'm like, you know, it's all just witch talk.
Oh, God, yeah. Which, I mean, I will say, I think this is the first time in a long time we've actually seen Subaru snap during the witch talks.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, obviously, the whole like everybody was kind of thinking Echidna was like best girl. Obviously, you still have to remember that she's a witch, so we knew there was something wrong with her or something like that. But
yeah, and it was a really weird type of wrong too.
Yeah, I mean, she's just. It wasn't like bad. Like she still wanted technically the best outcome.
Yeah,
but,
she just wanted him to explore basically every single outcome. I think the writer came out and said if he'd taken the deal with her, he would have died over 10,000 times.
Yeah, something like that, all in different ways, just like to just kind of learn all the different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know you just don't get a guy like Subaru every single day with his cool power.
Yeah, which I mean, I feel like she could have talked to Minerva, like the White Witch, about this.
Yeah.
Just to say, like, hey, can you make a couple more?
Yeah,
of
can
these?
you make like Garfield one because like he's already my guy.
Yeah,
Maybe he'd do the
or maybe
contract
just give me like the outline of how I can do this for him.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that there's almost like a way where I think you're expected to believe that if this happened to someone else, they wouldn't do it the same as Subaru, right? Like he's special.
Yeah,
like his like. Obviously, at this point, like you just assume that you would give up, even though, like, what can you really do to give up? You would just kind of accept every single thing as it happens because you would never die, but you wouldn't keep trying to fix it and save everyone else. You would probably just go crazy and only care about you surviving at one point.
Yeah, which is I honestly think is a reasonable reaction if you know the outcome that's coming. The big question would be like, what would actually happen? Let's just say theoretically, if Subaru said "fuck it," walked away, and just went and lived a happy life with Rem when she offered it.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be possible.
Yeah, like let's just say like 40, 50 years down the line, he just dies a peaceful death. Does he just revert back to that moment? Just go, oh shit.
Well, now the thing is, looking back on it now, you can easily say why that wouldn't happen. Because as soon as he would leave with Rem, for instance, we have people like Roswell. He needs him as part of his plan. He knows him from the book.
Yeah.
He would then send his assassins after him, which is
that was definitely a bit of a drop there.
Yeah, so it was once again back to the discussion of, is he a bad guy?
I think he's just batshit crazy.
And yeah, he is obviously crazy, but this you would also argue that he is a bad guy, technically.
He is a bad guy with a massive heart-on for the White Witch.
Do you think he also then sent the assassin to kill Felt? Because if you think about it now, he is on obviously Amelia's side for like the electoral thing. And then she did eventually, even not at that point, but eventually it came out that she was a candidate as well. And the assassin that was sent to kill her is also the same assassin we found in this one he has ties to because he hired them this time.
That's a very good question, actually, because like at that point she wasn't known as a...
Yeah, but he has a book that tells the future.
I mean, you're... Oh, wow. I actually didn't think about that.
I don't know what that would gain him because then technically he should know that. I don't know exactly. The details of the book could be just based around him, just based around Subaru, just based around stuff that happens in his life that he can see.
We don't know the scope of it. Like this could be very much a future diary moment where it only tells you one very specific facet of something.
Yeah, and you just have to figure it yourself how to get there. But yeah, that's one of the questions I had because it's revealed that he is the one who hired these assassins, basically just to push Subaru is all it is.
Which is, let's just say, is a dick move at the basest of lines.
It's because it's not that he's a bad guy, but he knows that. Well, I mean, he's kind of a bad guy because he knows that Subaru is going to keep coming back. Like Subaru can't be killed, but he basically sets up this situation where Subaru has to pick. Yeah. You know, hard choices make you a better man. They toughen your resolve in life. That's what we're told.
Yeah, which I mean, if it means you end up like Roswell, I think that's a really bad bit of advice.
Yeah. So the whole point of the assassination is basically like, hey, you have the sanctuary here where this is going on. If you don't do the sanctuary stuff in time, you know, the snow falls. You know, everybody gets mad. Amelia goes crazy. Bunnies come eat everybody. And then you have the other side, which is, hey, at the mansion in the town, these assassins are coming in and killing everybody. You can only do one of them. You can't do both. Subaru's whole issue is he's been trying to solve both, and it's just impossible. It never works out for him.
Which, I mean, we have the big drop as well that he no longer is qualified for the trial.
Yeah, so that fucks over his plan too.
Yeah.
A little bit salty on Echidna's part, not gonna lie, but
I mean, I fully acknowledge that. And then Roswell's action of like, well, if you just go ask her, I'm sure she'll give it back to you. It's like,
it's true, yeah. But I mean, he can't be like, oh no, I can't actually ask her because I just pissed her off by doing this and this. You know, he doesn't really get into it. But yeah, so the whole point basically is that Roswell's like, your resolve is not strong enough. Like you're kind of a weak little bitch still. He's like, you know, that's why I sent the assassins. And Subaru's like, wait, what? You did what?
Nani the fuck, man? Like,
yeah. So it's interesting. It was a really good reveal and a really good like ending to the season or like this part of the season. But yeah, it just once again makes you want more. And
it's definitely a cliffhanger, and I respect them for putting the break here. But I also hate them because I want to see more.
Yeah, it's also you get it's like the mid-season break, and like there's only been like this one reset really. Like he's still trying to solve this first issue compared to the first season where at this point he had already finished the first one. He might have been on to the second one or even past the second one with like Rem and stuff.
At this point, I think he was a couple checkpoints up.
Like he had solved some things. I understand that now. It's harder to solve, especially because he did not know at this point that the whole thing is set around him having to pick one. Yeah. It's set around him. He has to fail. He has to pick basically which people he wants to save. So he didn't know that. So this entire time he's been trying to do both, and it's just impossible. Yeah. Obviously, he's going to do it though. It's an anime.
Something's going to happen. Nick. Worst case, he kills Roswell. I mean, he calls off the assassins.
Could he kill Roswell though? I mean, dude's powerful as shit.
I mean, with enough attempts, you could do anything.
Also, he took his makeup off in this one, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. That was like actually a big thing they focused on.
But I didn't get why.
I think it was the moment he found out Subaru lost his qualification, wasn't
it? I wish I would have just rewatched this part because when it happened, I was confused. Because when when a makeup is off or someone takes off an outfit or something like that, it's like a reveal typically. But I didn't comprehend what was supposed to be being revealed to me. We know he does not permanently have clown makeup on. I think most people assume that he's wearing makeup. Yeah. So it's not just did you know that he actually has skin? So,
I mean, with him, that is a little bit of a revelation. I won't lie.
That he's not 100% freak. That he takes it off occasionally.
Yeah, I almost feel
like he did wear the makeup into the bath, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I think it's more like him saying, "Okay, this timeline's fucked. I'm going to pass it on to the next one."
Yeah, maybe if you're watching this and you're like, "Hey, I'm 1,000 IQ. I saw this twist where he actually, you know, had this eye color when he took off his makeup. Yeah. Like, if you saw something there that we didn't." You know, let us know. Yeah.
It's going to come up like the second season. At this point, he said something about the makeup, and we just totally forgot.
Because I assume in most things that nothing is done without a purpose. Even a lot of times, shit's just written bad, so it is. But ReZero is not written bad, which makes me believe that was done with a purpose.
Yeah, and there was enough focus put onto it. It definitely has some symbology to it. So.
Yeah, it was like a full close-up of his face taking the makeup off. So if you know what that is, let us know. Yeah. I don't care if it's a spoiler. Just put a spoiler warning before you write it.
Yeah, don't piss everyone else off.
Yeah, mainly put it if it was something that we were supposed to see in the episode and we just didn't because we're degenerates or something like that.
Or if it'll be revealed later, just say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll still read it. I'll still obviously read your comment, but at least let people know. Yeah. But I mean, good. I really like the season overall so far. I'm excited for the second half. Obviously, very sad they took a break. Yeah. But at least it's kind of good to get a break anyways. It lets us sit on all that we've seen so far. I'll honestly probably rewatch the first episodes before the other one comes back.
Yeah.
Just to try and figure out stuff I've missed, or now that I've gotten some of the plot to go back and be like, does this fit? Because it probably does. There's probably there's probably like mini hints throughout it that kind of show some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I also wouldn't be. I'd be pretty tempted to go back just watch the entire first season, second season again.
Yeah, I've watched the first season like right before this one came out, luckily, and I watched the director's cut.
Wait, this isn't. I'm drawing a total blank. This isn't season. This is season 3, right?
Season 2.
Okay, why was I thinking? I was thinking of the movie. That's why.
Yeah, it's literally it's the same thing. Like season 1 just had like the straight on like 25 episodes.
I don't know why it had total like.
There was the OVA. There's the movie.
I think it was just like patching those into a full season in my head. So.
Well, yeah, they also title their stuff differently. A lot of animes go like season 2, episode this. They just continue right on through.
That is
so
true.
it's like it's just like episode 37 or something like that.
Yeah, I might have also just been thinking like 13 episodes because everything in the season was 13 episodes.
It's true. But yeah, very good. No surprise. Once again, ReZero was like our big thing, especially like most of the comments we got were talking about ReZero. Even stuff like Reddit, a lot of times in like some of our Reddit posts, people were talking about like ReZero and stuff. It's obviously a very big like discussion anime because it has like almost like a murder mystery element to it, where the whole point is he's going back to try and figure out a couple of extra details to help him succeed. So it has like this big mystery element, which obviously mystery is very fun to discuss.
Yeah, like he goes down different paths, learns a little bit each time, and gets reset back to the same point with that new knowledge. So.
Yeah, and like almost in the entire thing, we are gaining the knowledge he is at the exact same time, which is normally good. Like we don't want to know something that like Subaru doesn't know for like 10 episodes, because this happened recently in something. I don't remember what it was, but then it's like when the character, it's something that we knew for like multiple episodes, and then it's revealed to the character, and then we're supposed to be like surprised. But I'm like, we already knew that.
Yeah, it might have been Millionaire Detective, but
I don't know. Maybe it'll come to us, but yeah, it was something like that. But I like when we're learning stuff at like the same pace as the main character. It's always good.
Yeah, that reveal for the character, you get to see their shock, but it's like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, we see their shock, and we're also feeling the shock, which is good.
Yeah.
You don't want to see the main character shocked and be like, yeah, dude, I knew that.
Get over it. We know.
Yeah, we've known that for like 20 episodes, bro. But yeah. Good episode. Really excited for the continuation of season 2. And obviously we'll be talking about that on here. That's a guaranteed one that'll always be on.
It's gonna take a lot for us to not pick it up. So
yeah, there better be a lot of really good seasons if we don't have enough space for ReZero.
Oh, God,
better be some crazy ass shows, all Haikyuu every episode. Okay, and the very last one on the list, because we've obviously one of the big shows that ended was Decadence, but we had a whole separate episode on Decadence, and we already did that. So the last one is Millionaire Detective. We only started covering Millionaire Detective maybe 2 episodes ago. Like we only got like 1 or 2 down.
Yeah, I was a little bit late to the party on that one, so
it happens. Another 12 or 13 episode anime.
Yeah, which funnily enough, this was only an 11 episode anime, which I found kind of weird.
That is a weird. I'm gonna start by asking the question: do you think there's gonna be another season?
That's a really loaded question to open with.
It's an ambiguous ending. They don't guarantee, but they lead to the fact there could be.
Yeah, it's definitely, they resolved their current storyline. There's no denying that. But they left it open-ended enough that they could easily spin off into a completely different genre.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the same. It's like watching any like James Bond film, for instance. It's not always have to be a connecting bad guy. It can just be a different bad guy.
Yeah, because even the show itself was kind of a weird hodgepodge of like a cop show and a buddy show and
then like
a little bit of Batman mix in there.
Yeah, I was actually watching it. Obviously, that like my friend Ryan was up for like the week, and he was actually just like laying in the bed while I was like watching it. Like him and Meg were both there. And he was just like, "Oh, this is interesting," because it was like the big reveal of like the whodunit kind of thing. And he's like, "Oh, this makes sense." And then he started like he was watching longer. Then all of a sudden like like the fucking they all have like the super suits on and stuff like that. He's like, "Wait," he's like, "What's happening now?" And I had to explain it to him. Like he's like Batman. He's like Winston if he was like a detective. I was like,
no one else is gonna get that reference, by the way.
Yeah, it's like the show is realistic, except for it's also silly with how much money.
Yeah, because it's literally like you have unlimited money. It's like, I feel like there has to be a limit somewhere.
Yeah, it's impossible to have. You could have so much money that it's basically unlimited based off what you're purchasing, but to actually have unlimited money is impossible.
Yeah,
but you could obviously if you have $10 billion and you only buy 1 pack of noodles a day and that's all you're spending, you have unlimited money in that sense.
Yeah,
but your balance in your bank could never be unlimited.
Yeah, like that's like you own the world type shit right there.
Yeah, that would not be allowed by a lot of things.
Yeah, which I think that's part of the reason. Like at the end, like there are people like graffitiing his house and stuff. They found out how much money he has. It's like, do you really think he cares about you?
Yeah. So I guess we'll get into the actual plot. So the whole point of the show, as we talked before, was this like mystery. The most of the plot actually revolves around Kanbei, who's like one of the 2 main characters. Yes. It's about his family's past. His father killed his mother, then his dad died in like a car accident. While they were studying this like resource adolium.
Yeah, which his dad, I think, it was supposed to be implied that he committed suicide.
Yeah, it was like, he killed the mom, he couldn't live with it. He like drove off a cliff, committed suicide. But for the last few episodes, the dad has come back as like this villain. He's killing people. He killed the detective. And then he's on the boat when they're doing their last boat fight in the episode we talked about previously.
Which, as far as twists go, wasn't very big because everyone saw the suicide. It's like, yeah, no, that's faked.
Yeah,
he's got so much money he can do anything.
Yeah, we all knew that. Like, we've seen how much money they have. Balance unlimited. There's not a chance he's actually dead. Like, just because they found the dental records, no big deal. He's not dead.
Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket, literally, for them.
But yeah, then they get back. They follow him back to their house. where then it's basically the big reveal is that the main villain is technically his grandma.
Yeah, which was a nice little offside. Like, I wasn't sure if she was involved, but the fact that she was the big one.
Yeah, and then she was using her henchman, the like butler man, who was a very nice fella in the other times we saw him. She basically had like a Mission Impossible mask to make him look exactly like the dad.
Yeah,
and then she sent him on the mission to go kill the mother because she was going to come out with all this information about Adolium.
Yeah,
and then they did in fact fake the dad's death, and he's just kind of been like store like away somewhere. Like he's been like the house they kind of showed at the end in like a wheelchair. And
yeah, it was a nice double twist. But I will say, after everything the show did, to have it come down to the butler did it.
Listen, whodunits always come down to the butler did it.
I know, but it just left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, I don't like the whole Mission Impossible face mask thing, but I guess with all else the show has shown us.
Yeah,
but in real life,
it's not unfeasible.
Yeah, in real life, if Kanbei got close enough to that guy, he would have very quickly known that it wasn't actually his dad.
I mean, we don't know. He saw him last when he was like 12 and he was standing over his dead mom.
But yeah, the thing I liked and didn't like is that, so basically while Kanbei's having this like, he's confronting the grandma about everything, you have, what's Kato, I think is the main?
Yeah, Kato.
He's then confronting like the butler guy because, he has the more involved story with him because he killed his like senior detective. Yeah. He's very much involved in this.
I wouldn't say more involved. He literally killed his mom.
Yeah, but I mean like... He was just hired.
He's had more time to get over it since then. That's the only difference.
Yeah, it's also like this like element of like, he was hired to do it. He like, yes, he's the one who actually killed his mom, but whose fault is it? The grandma's fault. So Kanbei's against him.
I mean, he was hired to kill the other two as well.
But yeah, this guy's obviously a good killer, right? It's what he's like good at it. So he's in the fight with Kato, and you're like, like Kato doesn't stand a chance. He still technically can't shoot people.
I mean, yeah. My big question is, I'm going back to the butler for a second. During the hiring process for the people, just like, how good are you at killing people, or do we have to take you to a course?
I'm assuming it was like a bodyguard situation, like an ex-military bodyguard, and then it became more of like a butler thing. Like
I just can't imagine that career transition.
Yeah. Can you kill a woman very quickly while wearing a Mission Impossible face mask? And he'd be like, I can do that. Yeah. She's like, you're hired. We might need that down the line.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be an interesting interview.
But yeah, in Kato's fight with the butler guy, it's basically like he's like, I don't want to kill you because I wasn't ordered to. And then like, and then he's like, he approaches him and he doesn't end up shooting. And then he beats him, and the whole plot line that he beat him was because since he wasn't ordered to do it.
Well, I mean, I think you missed something. Like, he did get shot in the leg.
Yeah, he did. But I mean, like, doesn't
kind
everyone get shot in the leg?
It was kind of important to the plot right there.
See, the thing is, when you get shot in the leg, it just implies the fact that you don't want to kill the person. So that just gave Kato even more knowledge that he wasn't going to be killed, which, I mean, worked. But yeah, I guess, like, because he squeezes?
Kato did that to him.
Yeah, because he earlier got like shrapnel or something in his side when he escaped. So then as Kato gets closer to him, he basically grabs him and just like squeezes in his wound until the guy just like foams at the mouth and dies.
Yeah, which I mean, that was if you're not willing to shoot someone, I feel like that's a little bit more gruesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that he's willing to shoot him. It's just that he can't seem to like pull the trigger on people, which is fine.
Which I mean, I don't think, do we ever actually talk about his backstory with that?
Yeah, I feel like we did in the first episode when we discussed just like the past and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like that wasn't like an epic fight between the two. It wasn't like this crazy knife versus gunfight. It was just a shot in the leg, pushes wound, dies.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of underselling it.
No, I'm selling exactly how it happened. And literally, as he like kills the guy, he's like, you wouldn't do anything you weren't ordered to do. And I was like, he literally said, he's like, I wasn't ordered to kill you, so I don't want to. I feel like he still coulda. Like,
I mean, I feel like he still had something for Kanbei. Like, I think he was still trying to be like a good. I don't want to say butler in this context, but.
Good butler. You only killed my mother, but you draw the line at my new coworker.
Yeah, I feel like he's like, I already killed your mom on orders. I'm not going to take away like pretty much the only friend you have.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
So
the reveal was good. It was the classic twist. Butler done it plus the grandma mixed in, and then then you pretty much just get like, I don't know if I wouldn't say that it's like preparing for next season, like if it's like set up, but then they go to America.
It could be very much a epilogue, or it could be a setup. It could go either way.
It could go either way. We could have a season of them in America, or that could be the fun epilogue, because then it goes back to him hanging on the bridge.
I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be America. But the bridge was a nice touch. I'm going to touch on that.
Yeah, where he goes, like the very first episode, he's like hanging by the bridge, and then Kato's like, "Oh, help me!" And then it looks like Kanbei. Yeah, at first you're like, he like looks like he's not gonna help him, and then he moves to help him. You're like, okay, like this is like showing that he's kind of like changed.
Yeah.
But then he just like doesn't help him still, anyways.
It's like lol fall.
Even though that looks like a far fall, and water can really hurt when you're falling from a long
to be fair,
distance.
he literally got hit by a car in that suit before, so
yeah, that's true. So I probably wouldn't do that much. But yeah, I mean, was it not implied that it was America?
It was America, but he flew there from Britain.
Yes.
He was in like the British Royal Palace.
Well, he's rich.
I know, but he flew to America in like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So this could be a globe-trotting season if they do another one.
I mean, this was the kind of shit that Ryan was watching with me. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, don't question it. It's like some James Bond,
this is not
Mission Impossible tool shit.
This is not
like,
the episode to apply logic to. Everything else was.
Yeah, everything else was pretty standard. I think like the most weird shit you got was like with the start of the boat part where he has this super suit. Everything else was kind of, he had like drones with missiles. That's realistic. We could have that now.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. It was like a show that we didn't have a lot of in the past like few years. Like I can't even think of like the last show I'd think that was really close.
Yeah, it was definitely unique, especially with the whole I'm just gonna throw money at the problem concept and it actually working. And
yeah, it was very different. But I liked it. But yeah, it either could have been epilogue, could have been season 2. We have no idea.
Yeah, I would definitely watch a season 2. I mean, if it's entirely reliant on the super suit premise, I don't know how much I'll like it.
Yeah, I want more murder mystery elements.
Yeah,
like I liked episodes like where they're inside the mansion and like they're in the locked room and you're like, oh, who done it? Like who's the bad guy? And then it's also the problem solving how they're gonna get out of the room.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't feel like they do enough mystery in anime nowadays.
No, they definitely don't.
The ones you do are definitely mystery horrors, things like Shiki and a little bit of Higurashi.
Yeah, which we still haven't talked about Higurashi, the new season, because I still haven't watched it.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not even sure if we're going to end up talking about it.
Yeah, probably not.
It's going to be like one episode of me talking about how I was an edge lord in high school.
Yeah, we might have like a piece on it at some point, like talking about it in general. Any final thoughts on Millionaire Detective?
Honestly, no. I mean, the only other question I really had about the show is like, did the grandmother ever actually get punished with the amount of money she has behind her?
Realistically, you could maybe argue that yes, because there's also Kanbei who also has a lot of money.
Yeah.
So maybe like money beats money, but technically the money still mainly belongs to her.
Yeah, because she was in charge of the AI, right?
Yeah.
Like she was the one who she could literally just say like, give him no money.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know, but maybe she's just like, hey, he beat me, like whatever, I'll just go to jail, or like maybe it's not like jail, but I mean she's pretty close to death. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, is there a point of putting like 85-year-olds in jail? Like there must be a better, just take them out. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that's a whole other moral discussion right there.
But yeah, I mean, good season. If there's a season 2, it'll be another one.
Yeah, and actually, I had one other question for you. Do we ever figure out what the hell was up with the woman?
The woman?
She said she was like I can't remember what her name was. The long dark hair, like
his like cousin thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Did they ever establish what was going on with that? Because
if they did, it was when she was first introduced as like the secret spy that he was.
Yeah, which they described her as a relative, but.
Yeah,
like in the opening, they like show her sitting on his lap, and like in the opening, there's definitely some weird scenes. It's like,
listen, it's Japan. As long as they're cousins, it's legit. But I don't know. She has like the same hair color. Not that black's a very rare hair color in Asia, but like they kind of have like the same like skin tone and stuff. So I feel like it's definitely some sort of relative.
Okay, like, I just want to know if he was just screwing with them.
It could have been like an adopted situation too. Maybe more reason for season 2, so we get some more of her backstory.
Yeah, I mean if they get into that, I feel like I might not want to watch season 2. But
yeah, I mean, whatever, that's fair. So yeah, if season 2 comes out, we'll definitely be talking about that. Other than that, that's all the finales that we had for the week. Like the 2 weeks.
Other than that, do you have any final thoughts on AMA that we didn't watch together? Or anything I didn't see?
There was finally the full ending of Snafu. I won't spoil it, but
I'm working on that.
So. Yeah, it was. My final thoughts are just that it's kind of sad. It was kind of sad seeing like the show end. Because it's one of those shows now where I don't remember how long ago season 1 came out, but they had some big breaks between season 2 and season 3. So it's kind of sad seeing it end. I'm not going to say that I loved the way it ended, but it was still a good show overall. And then also Sword Art. Sword Art ended too.
Yeah, another one I'm trying to catch up on.
With some big implications for another season and some last minute twists and some crazy shit. The only thing I will say that's kind of a spoiler, but not really, is that the next season... It's looking like a mecha space season. I don't know how else to describe that.
Wait, what?
So have you seen any of Alicization?
I know enough about it that I don't think you're going to spoil it for me.
Okay, so once again, spoilers if you haven't seen it. It's a very brief discussion. It's just that the world that he goes to in Alicization moves faster than the regular world.
Yeah. Oh god. Right.
So what happens is at one point they leave, the plot goes on, and then they come back to that world when it's been like 200 years. And when they land in space, and then the characters who they knew from before are now still like the knights, except for now they're in like Star Wars style spaceships fighting a huge space alien monster. I'm not joking.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's like a mind flare like space monster.
God damn.
So yeah, and then the season ends. So just like that. So
I almost feel like that's like cutting off the season, just like saying, "Hey, look, shit's gotten too crazy."
Yeah, that's how it ended. So the I feel like the real life story of sort of ended in a nice way. Like you should watch it to see like where like the implications of like having these artificial AIs, how they're gonna fit into the world, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the wackiness of going back with like spaceships and aliens and stuff, a little weird. But yeah, that's all the ones I can think about that I enjoyed the endings of. But any that you saw that you were excited about?
Honestly, the only one I really kept up with that we weren't both watching that is worth talking about, and someone's probably gonna hate me for this, is I don't know if you ever saw GB8.
Yeah, so I tried watching the first episode. I think I got 5 minutes in.
Yeah, it's if you ever want to get absolutely hammered and watch a show and tear it apart,
that's the show.
Yeah, get some buddies together, get hammered, and watch it. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, I feel like maybe one day when I have no anime, it'll be the time to watch it. But like right now, for instance, no. It's like there's so many animes out. Is that going to be the one that takes the time?
The only positive thing I can really say about it is if you like shamisen music, the opening is really good.
Okay, well maybe I'll just listen to the opening on YouTube.
That works.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. We're not having a discussion this time. It's just talking with the last episode. We're going to keep it nice and short. And then check back with us next Monday. We'll have out episode 6, which will be covering a lot of episode 2s from the past week.
And a couple episodes 1s to catch up.
Something like Noblesse and stuff like that. So once again, guys, my name's Cam.
I'm Jimmy.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and then leave us a comment about your favorite part. Okay? Peace, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.